We are going to continue our discussion on symmetry. I have already started discussing this topic. Now I am going to first of all very briefly discuss those things that I have discussed in the class and even before that in previous years. So I am going to start it from the scratch for those who do not remember or those who have not done this topic. Okay. The very first thing that we are going to discuss today is line of symmetry in two dimensions. Two dimensions mean something like this, a rectangle. We are going to discuss line of symmetry on a two-dimensional object like rectangle, parallelogram, square, circle, and other things of that kind. We will show you those things in a while. First of all, let me tell you what line of symmetry means. Line of symmetry may also be termed as axis of symmetry, line of reflection, or axis of reflection. I'll tell you what all those things mean. They all are the different names of the same thing. Okay. What does axis of symmetry or a line of symmetry do? Okay. For instance, if I have this rectangular shape here, the same one. Okay. This is gray from the front and orange from the other side. Okay. I have made the two shapes on purpose. So if I say that I need to draw a line or an axis along with this rectangle at a place where if I fold this rectangle, the one half overlaps the other half completely. For instance, if you can see this is a rectangle, I want to fold it this side on the other side. So I need to make sure that I am folding it from a point or along across a line, which makes sure that one side is covering the other side completely. That would mean if I bend it from here like this. So if I just fold it like this along with this line, you can see that one half, this half has covered the previous half completely. This one, this half has been completely covered by the other half. So these are the shapes which we call symmetrical shapes. Symmetrical shapes are the ones which have which can be divided into two halves which are mirror images of each other. You can see if I divide this rectangle into two parts, one this and the other one this. So you can clearly see that one half is the mirror image of the other half. And to make sure that this is happening, I will just fold the one half, the first half over the other half. And what will happen? The first half will completely cover the other half. You cannot see any gray part anymore because that has been covered by the rear part. In the same way, if I say that I am not folding it like this, I am folding it like this, upward, down. I am bringing the upside downward. So what is the line of symmetry going to be? Line of symmetry is going to be like this, and I am going to fold it like this. Now what should happen? This above half should completely cover the lower half. So now see, when I fold it like this, you can see that the upper part has completely covered the lower part. No lower part or no gray color is visible. That is only possible when first side covers the other side completely. You can see that the first half has completely covered the other part. No gray color was visible. This is first thing. On the other hand, let's talk about this shape. It's a trapezium and isosceles trapezium. Now I want you to fold it. I want you to divide it into two symmetrical halves. Symmetrical halves, make sure that when you fold one half, it overlaps the other half completely. If the first half does not overlap the other half completely, then we won't call it symmetrical shape. Is it a symmetrical shape? Does it have any line of symmetry? If it has any line of symmetry, then you might need to draw that line of symmetry first of all, and then you can just say that first half is the symmetrical as that of the other half. So for instance, I am saying that that this is this is the axis of symmetry on this shape. So if this is the axis of symmetry, then I'll fold the upper half over the lower half. And does the upper half cover the lower half completely? Obviously not. You can see this lower part, the gray shade of the lower part is visible even after I've covered the lower half with the upper half. So this shape is not symmetrical. These are not the symmetrical halves of this shape. Okay? The upper half and the lower half, they are not symmetrical because why? Because the upper half is not the mirror image of the lower half and it's not covering overlapping the other half completely. Okay. Now if I say let's try this one. Let's say this is the axis of symmetry. If this line is the axis of symmetry, okay, so this half and this half, they have to be similar, and if they are they have to be symmetrical. So if this half is symmetrical to this one, okay, and when I just fold this half over this one, so see what happens. I am just folding it, and when I completely fold it, so now you can see that this half has covered the other half completely. No gray part is anymore visible. Is that okay? So this is what line of symmetry is, and this is what a line of symmetry does. We will give you different two-dimensional shapes. Maybe let me show you some of them. I'll only show you, okay? This is an isosceles trapezium. Then this is a rectangle that we have already discussed. This is a parallelogram. A parallelogram, does it have any line of symmetry? Okay. Do you think that if I draw a line of symmetry vertically, so do you think that the first half or the left part will be symmetrical to the right part? And if I draw a horizontal axis of symmetry, so do you think that the upper half will be symmetrical as that of the other? Let me show you. Let me just show you very quickly. Okay. For instance, I am drawing a line of symmetry like this. So if you bend it, it's not yet ready completely. So if I just bend it like this, fold it like this, so do you think that the upper half has completely covered the lower half? If it had done so, then this part would not have been visible. This is the lower half. Okay? This is the lower half which is still visible. Okay? And when I just turn it around, so this is also visible. So these two shapes, this shape is not a symmetrical shape because it does not get divided into two symmetrical halves. In a similar way, if I say I am drawing a vertical line like this, and if I bend it over the other, so you might see that you just might see the green color at the front, but when you look at this side, at the back side, this one, you can see that this half has gone beyond this point. Okay. So this is again not covering the other part. Okay. In a similar way, there are other two-dimensional shapes I have drawn. Some of them. This is I square. I square is symmetrical vertically, horizontally, and diagonally as well. Okay. This is an isosceles trapezium triangle. I'm sorry. This is an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle is only symmetrical in this way, like this. Okay. So you can just divide it vertically with an axis of symmetry and it will get divided into two symmetrical halves. This is an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle can be divided like this, can be divided like this, or can be divided in this way. An equilateral triangle has three lines of symmetry. And then we have few more shapes. It's hexagon. Okay? A hexagon is symmetrical in 6 different ways. Yes. So we'll discuss about it in the detail later. I'm just showing you the shapes right now. This is the pentagon, and pentagon might have few lines of symmetry. This is an octagon, and this is a right triangle. So this is axis of symmetry, and these are a few shapes that I have thrown on the floor right now. So again, what does an axis of symmetry do? An axis of symmetry divides a shape into two symmetrical halves. Okay. And what is each half going to do? The first half is going to overlap the other half. What do we call these halves? Mirror images of each other. So a shape is symmetrical when a line of symmetry can be drawn, yeah, when a line divides the shape into two mirror halves, which are called symmetrical halves or symmetrical shapes. Okay, I really hope that you have understood what a line of symmetry is. Okay. In the next class, I'll now be discussing, if I have given you a rectangle and then I ask you to draw a line of symmetry or as many lines of symmetry as possible, then you have to decide if at which point should I divide this shape so that I get two halves. Should I divide it like this? If I divide it like this is the first part and this is the second part. Obviously they are not halves. Okay. So obviously this is not line of symmetry. Okay. So, and what about this? Should I divide it like this? If I divide it like this, again, is this divided into two halves? No, obviously not. Okay. So you do not only have to divide into two halves, you have to make sure that one half is the mirror image of the other. So I need to divide it from the center somewhere like this. Okay. Now this half is symmetrical as this. If I were given and I would just rotate this, I just flip it over this will just completely overlap the other half. This is one axis of symmetry of the rectangle, and the other possible axis of symmetry could be this, as I have shown you earlier. There are no diagonal axis of symmetry in the case of a rectangle. Diagonal axis of symmetry are possible in the case of a square. In the next video, we are going to discuss in detail what kind of questions are we going to ask and what kind of modules. This is just a very brief introduction to the line of symmetry. Remember, line of symmetry, axis of symmetry, line of reflection, axis of reflection. They all are the same things, and this is a symmetrical shape. So, if you have seen this video, so you must have understood these four things and symmetrical shape. Hopefully, most of you understand what a line of symmetry is, and I really hope that in the next video, when I will share few questions with you, so you will be able to identify yourself what lines of symmetry are of the